saying about 15-year-olds and shit.
15, 16, Kiss, yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of them.
Yeah. So maybe the age has changed. I mean, obviously it's changed, right? Like a woman is
100%.
13 and like ancient.
But that's because people didn't fucking survive. You know, it was hard to survive back then.
Right.
When someone got to breeding age, you bred with them as quickly as you could because they probably weren't going to make it to be 20.
I mean, that's a wild like debate that's happening. A bunch of few guys like thousands of years ago. Like, I don't want to bang these young girls, but no one's living. They're all dying.
Well, I don't think they thought 15 was old back then or young back then. Because I think, you know, with the average age of death, well, the average age of death it's complicated, right? Because when they calculate the average life expectancy of people that lived a long time ago, really you have to factor in infant mortality, which screws everything up. Because so many children and babies died young that, like,
more too, like,
but they make the age like, oh, the average person lived to be 30. Well, that fucks it up because a lot of them died at one.
Yes.
Like a shit ton of them.
And there are people who lived a long time. I think Michelangelo lived till how long?
I don't know.
It's
probably pretty old.
But like there are people who lived long. There are people who lived into their 80s back in the day.
Yeah, they did.
It was possible. But again,
the actual life expectancy, like what a person could actually live to, was probably the same.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Also wild to have a kid as a woman, like that primal urge back in the day, knowing that there was like a 25% chance it either killed you or the baby.
Oof.
I don't know what those percentages are, but knowing every time you're going into this, that you want to talk about like that's why, I don't know, like when I hear a lot of like people like our age or whatever like that, like there's a lot of women like, I just don't want kids. And it's like, I understand intellectually why you might not, but there has to be a biological impulse inside of you yearning to do that.
I don't think it's for everybody. I really don't think
it's not for everybody.
But I don't think that the urge is for everybody.
You think there are human beings whose woman...
If you talk to them, thinks that it's and he's basing this, is what I was getting to. There's studies where they talk about urban environments and highly educated people are having less and less children. Because the woman has a career, man has a career, they put it off. So you're seeing Idiocracy. But that's in Idiocracy. There's a couple in Idiocracy that's like really highly educated. He's brilliant. In that film, like there's this one guy who lives in a trailer and he's got like 50 kids, keeps fucking all these women, he's fucking the neighbor, he's having kids with everybody. And then there's this super educated couple that's holding it off and putting it off until they're like in their 40s, and then they can't have kids, the guy doesn't have any sperm left, the girl's eggs are bad. That's the reality of intelligent, educated people with careers, is that they have less children. And so that's the fear of population collapse in large urban environments. When people move up in economic status and they move up in terms of their career, that takes precedent over having children.
Yeah, I think that is happening. I mean, look, for me, I'm 38. I don't have kids yet. You know, my wife, she just got her MBA. We haven't started having kids yet. I mean, I think in the very near future, you know, God willing, we'll be able to do that. But yeah, we put these other things first.
Yeah, well, that's what people do.
And I think that's partially responsible for the extreme wokeness. Let me take you there in this. I haven't fully formed this thought, but basically, like, I think from my friends who have kids, once you have kids, the world shrinks, right? It's like, what matters is your family, what matters are those kids' lives, what's going on in their lives, are they struggling? Like, I have friends in school, is one of them hurt, is one of them injured, are they like developing emotionally? You don't have all this extra time to be worried about all these kind of like manifestations of outrage, right? And like if you have two fucking toddlers that you're carrying around all day, mustard stains all over your shirt, you're not exactly going to the march about Chappelle's show and saying this is fucked up. That's true. And I think what happens is in these urban centers where you're saying these like cities like New York where I live and these other ones, San Francisco and LA, people are waiting so much longer to have children, so they have so many more years to focus on the outrage or focus on what is wrong with the world. I'm not saying that we shouldn't put focus on that. I'm just saying it is harder when you have 3 kids you have to take care of.
There's also there's a natural thing that's happening to many intelligent women it's like they want relevance, they want something that's important to them, and so they want to talk about like the problems of the world.
Yeah.
Which women with children get a little upset, saying, "Well, the problems of the world, like, we have to make the world better for the next generation."
I don't want my kids getting shot in school. That's
Right.
the big problem.
Yes.
The problem isn't your product. The problem is the kid could get shot at school. And I don't want that.
Well, it's also you want your children to be healthy. You don't want the rivers to be polluted. You don't want,
You want the normal inherent world.
Yeah. One of the things that happens when there's a giant mass of people, like cities, is you don't feel a primal urge to procreate.
Because the people
Because
around
there's so
you
many
aren't
people.
procreating.
There's so many people.
Yeah.
You know, that's what coyotes do. Do you know when coyotes do roll call? You know, when they howl?
Yeah.
When they're doing that, they're checking to see who's around. And if one of them doesn't respond, that means they're dead. And what happens with the female is when a coyote gets killed out of a pack, the female coyotes will produce extra offspring in their litter. So, like, if a coyote pack remains intact and they have no threat, and they do the roll call all the time, and all the coyotes respond,
Less
the
babies.
female will have 2 or 3 cubs. But if they call out and then a coyote doesn't respond, or 1 or 2 is dead, then the female will have 5, 6, 7 cubs. There's a natural thing that happens in their body where nature realizes they have to pick up the slack because there's animals that are missing. When you're in an environment like an urban environment and you are stuck on the 405 and there's fucking millions of people, the last thing you think is, man, we need more people.
Yeah.
Just natural.
Yes.
If it happens in other animals, you got to think that it happens in people. This brings us back to dolphins. The
Elon
reason why
is a
male
coyote.
dolphins. No, he's just logical. He thinks like math. You
Yeah.
know, he's like looking at this like, oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Like he's like seeing it in terms of like 100-year curve. It's like we need a lot of people. Like people are gonna stop breeding, and there's gonna be a big fall off.
Okay, you were saying with dolphins though.
Dolphins, the female has to have this baby that she protects for like 6, 7 years, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
So male dolphins will come along.
Kill
if
the
they
baby.
haven't exactly, they'll kill the baby to force the female into estrus. So she'll want to breed again and she'll fuck. So the strategy the female dolphins have devised is they become sluts. So female dolphins fuck as many male dolphins as possible. So the male
everyone
dolphin
thinks it's theirs,
Exactly.
and they all protect it. That's the
Exactly.
bonobo chimpanzees thing.
Sort of.
bonobo-
Chimpanzees
no,
use
but
it for
bonobo
problem
specifically.
solving, but they use it for problem solving, and they use it for conflict resolution.
Yeah,
They fuck to resolve tension.
wait a minute.
They're the only animal other than us that does it for pleasure.
My understanding was specifically the bonobo chimpanzees have sex with everybody, like almost family members, and everybody's fucking. And the idea was, if everybody's fucking, we have to protect everyone because everybody could be your kid, they could be your father, they could be your uncle, etc.
Sort of, but the males fuck their kids.
Which is bad,
It's bad. You know who doesn't fuck? The mother won't fuck the son. That's it.
and that's our favorite porn.
Stepmom porn.
I think that's why Elon's dad didn't give a shit.
Oh, he got a lot of shit.
It was for a week.
Yeah, but nobody knows who he is. It's like, why concentrate on some guy from South Africa?
I mean, it's the father of the richest guy ever. I think
Right.
that there's a reasonable amount of concentration.
Sort of the richest guy ever.
Go on that.
Yeah, it's the Saudis. They're the richest people ever. They just don't. It's not public. Like, you know.
Or Putin's the richest ever.
Yeah, he's
but-
one of the richest ever.
But are you the richest ever?
Royal families, they don't have to disclose their income. They're trillionaires. I talked to Dana White about
But
that.
that's the family. This is a guy.
No. The amount of wealth from pulling billions of dollars of oil out of the ground a day
Yeah.
is fucking insane.
Do they have weapons of mass destruction?
Some countries do. Yeah, there's arguments that they might. It's like, look, you could buy it from Russia. Like, you could buy nuclear missiles back in the day. That's Operation Odessa. They tried to sell that guy a submarine.
Submarine.
Yeah, to move coke around in, and they asked if he wanted nuclear missiles. He's like, what?
Huh? Yeah, because they were just trying to make money, right? They were just
Exactly.
selling everything they had.
I sell you a missile as well.
That's a lot of money.
What?
You get to sell a nuclear missile.
Yeah, to a dude who's trying to run coke under the ocean.
I've never done coke. You ever do coke?
No, I've never done coke.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
put
know
on
why
my
I never
gums
did
once.
coke?
Why?
Because I had a friend and his cousin was a coke addict when I was in high school.
And
I was like someone who got bit by a vampire.
Yeah.
That's how it looked to me. I was always scared of anything that could turn you into a loser.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the energy on coke. Like, I have friends who are drunk